Well, we do know that Jim Baker was somebody working at Twitter, and he was actually recently let go. And this was a bit of a headline, but something that has not been a headline as much is that there are still at least a dozen, if not more, former FBI agents who are working at Twitter. And some people have made note of the fact that a lot of these individuals had long careers at the FBI, 20 plus years. And one individual, Jeff Carlton, he was only with the FBI for a few years, but he was also with the CIA and military intelligence. And it's kind of concerning that there are still all these individuals inside of Twitter with these long experiences in intelligence. Elon Musk was actually asked about this. Somebody asked him how many former FBI agents are working at Twitter. He didn't answer the question directly. He just started saying that the FBI is generally good and there's a few bad apples and whatnot. So, do you find it concerning that there are still many different FBI agents who are still working inside of Twitter? I mean, and this kind of goes to the whole public private division as well, because
Right.
before the 2020 election, it was a bunch of former, it was 50 former intelligence, former in quotes, intelligence officials who discredited the Hunter Biden story. But when you're a former intelligence asset, isn't it still possible for there to be some effective government interference, or interference from at least an elite class into what a private business is doing?
Yeah, and it's very easy for me to have an opinion, and it would be based on the fact that, I've been in politics. I've had to deal with a lot of these people, and I know something about history, and I know something about what I've said 20 or 30 years ago about the FBI. So yes, I think they're there. I was surprised. It was great. Everybody celebrated the fact that Baker was finally fired. But my first question to myself and my friends is, I would have assumed he would be gone long ago. But see, since my position is very clear cut that all this is extraneous, we shouldn't have this, because I consider the FBI is anti-American, anti-constitutionalist, and I think somebody played a clip when I was doing it might have been the time I was doing the Libertarian campaign in '88, that it should be abolished. We shouldn't have this.
Most of our history, we didn't have those institutions. The FBI came in during the First World War, and interestingly enough, the one thing that Woodrow Wilson did, he used the FBI to spy on American citizens and actually arrest them if they disagreed with his foreign policy about going to war in Europe. And isn't it interesting how recent they used it in the Vietnam era? Democrats used it there, and Republicans used the FBI to spy on 100 different groups in this country, including the churches, who disagree with the policy in Central America. It almost looks like the FBI was designed to spy on Americans who might be disagreeing with policy, especially the foreign policy.
It's always going to be abusive, but it's always good to find out about it, because Musk is right. You can't say every single person that's ever been in the FBI, is an evil monster. But they're more honest about it. But the principle is bad, and it encourages bad people to get in. A lot of people have done very dumb things in the police force and the military, and yet there's a lot of activity in the police and the military that it's very questionable. And but that doesn't mean that everybody that's ever been there is a bad guy. But the principle is bad, and it encourages the bad people to get involved. And I think that could be said about politics. The people who take advantage of doing whatever they can to gain this power in politics, that feeling and attitude and incentive isn't as strong with a true libertarian, because the libertarians are, I don't want all this stuff. We shouldn't have that. We have a constitution. Why don't they follow that? But the thing of it is, those who love power, and the real menace, I think, is what happened during COVID, because this inspired a lot more people, and it inspired a definition of what federal government is. They just put mandates on and recommendations and threats and all kinds of things, and then the states rolled over and did it, and they loved it. And they all of a sudden, I'm sure they did it before, but we didn't read daily about an executive order by a governor. causing trouble. Fortunately, we had a few good governors that used the executive order to do the exact opposite, getting rid of some of the federal regulation. So it's a very bad system. So the solution is an ounce of prevention. You know, this stuff should be prevented, and I think you could use that as an argument in just about everything. You could use it certainly in monetary policy and whatnot. That we should not get involved. They're involved in education and medicine and everything else. So it's that mentality that permits these people who love power to become interventionists and be heralded as heroes to take care of the people. That's where the real tragedy is.